Hello everyone, this is Turin here, and today guys, I'm here with another Total War Warhammer live BattleCast. In this game, we're going to play the Warriors of Chaos, and we're going to be facing off against the Wood Elves. So I actually have prepared a multitude of different army compositions for the Warriors of Chaos for each matchup. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Wood Elf one, and this is in preparation of the guide that I'm working on. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. I'll kind of talk through it a little bit here. So in the front line, mostly Forsaken, very, very good hard counter to Wood Elves. Their mobility really helps for chasing down a lot of those missile units in the back line. On top of that, they shred Eternal Guards, which are pretty much a staple of competitive play. On top of that, I do also have Lore of Fire. So Lore of Death is decent here. I mean, Spirit Leech and Fate of Una are always good mechanics, but Lore of Fire I feel like is pretty good with the shock damage of the Forsaken. In Death, factions that have really like heavy healing, like the Wood Elves do, I mean, typically they're going to bring Lore of Life. It's not quite as good. Life counters death and all that. So we do have the Forsaken. I guess supposedly it should be the other way around. Death counters life, but yes. So in the front line, Forsaken, we get one group of halberds just in case they try and do some funny business with the trees. But fire also helps out quite a bit because again, the trees do take extra damage from fire attacks. So having that Kindle Flame and the Flaming Sword of Ruin is quite good. On top of that, Chaos Knights are just a hard counter to the Wild Riders, which are a hard counter to Forsaken. If you're trying to like push out around the flanks of a Wood Elf player and they get like really heavy Wild Rider charges on your Forsaken, they can just devastate you and really take you down pretty quick. So having these Chaos Knights over here, and these are not the shock combat ones, these are the sustained combat. So they have much higher melee defense and higher melee attack with at the cost of charge bonus. So I think this is kind of the appropriate approach. SIGVALD, very good pick. Prey of an Othram is one of the strongest mechanics that the Wood Elves have, so you just kind of got to look at it objectively. Like, how am I going to counter this? So you counter it by getting a Lord that has very good melee stats. He has self-healing. He kind of runs among the troops, so he's not going to be like isolated on a big dragon or anything. So I honestly think he's probably the better pick against the Wood Elves. It's still a hard matchup nonetheless. The Wood Elf missiles can really do some heavy work against Forsaken. They have some, really good options. It's a good matchup. It's good. Forsaken are a very strong unit, but aside from that, it's pretty tricky, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready to party. Hopefully he doesn't deploy over in the forest, just straight across from us. The simple way. We'd like to just charge in straight and just get down and dirty. So we're going to set up a pretty wide infantry line here. We'll put the one halberd right there, and SIGVALD can kind of sit next to the halberds over there. So he's going to kind of lead those boys into battle. And where do we? Yeah, so we actually have this guy on a horse here. So we get the Flaming Sword of Ruin and the Piercing Bolts, which actually is pretty good for like doing some pretty good shock. Well, it does good shock damage against like clumped missile units and things like that. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about it a little bit. Probably should have just brought like a fireball instead, but still, it works out okay. So all right, so let's get these knights over here and these knights. So you notice I put like a group of hounds with each one. So I'm gonna have like one protecting each flank. Like for what Wood Elves are usually gonna bring in terms of cav, this amount of cav is gonna be pretty overwhelming for like any Wood Elf cav contingent. Like I can't really think it would take like maybe 2 or 3 Wild Riders to take down a group of Chaos Knights, because Chaos Knights just annihilate them like an 80% to 0 type victory. So especially if you have Poison Warhounds to kind of lower their stats. So let's get this Fire Sorcerer up here. Let's make sure to toggle lock that group. So what that does is when we move, they'll stay in formation. So that's the reason you do that. So yeah, guys, I am working on the Chaos Guide. I know I've been saying that for like a week and a half, 2 weeks now, but I've been traveling quite a bit. Work's been pretty busy as well, so a little bit behind on that. But guys, it will come out relatively soon. And what's nice is Chaos probably isn't going to get a ton of changes, up through the next game. So at least that guide will be like accurate up through the changing meta. So looks like he does have a Glady up in the air. He's coming over pretty hot, knowing we don't have too many choices here, but he does have Eternal Guard and Treemen. Definitely like having a mixture of both. Very, very well played there. So we're going to kind of fly over a little bit and see if we can do a little bit of funny business. What we want to make sure is we don't get Prey of an Othram and then focus by missiles with our cav. Though these guys do have shields, they're only bronze shields, but still 120 armor is pretty darn good. So not sure where he's going to run off to. He's got some sneaky plans. Oh, did we forget to put these guys in the army? Damn, what a shame. Huge failure there. So he might come in and try and like dive me in the back. No, I don't think he would dare. That would be pretty ballsy. So this is where Spirit Leech would be good, because I could start harassing him. He didn't bring a potion, so that would have been quite strong in my opinion. So all right, so let's get these guys up on the hill here. It looks like my opponent is going for the high ground, so let's kind of just push over here. I'm tempted to just like unleash the Forsaken here and just kind of like run full sprint. So if we do that, can we get over there pretty quick? I think that's probably fine. So yeah, let's do that. And let's let the Forsaken kind of scurry over there. He's gonna like maybe run to the forest a little bit. So let's actually go corral him a little bit, do a little shepherd work. So we're gonna pull these guys up around here, and it looks like he actually is doing a bit of a tactical retreat at this point, realizing he probably can't quite make it to that high ground. So where's my sorcerer? So the sorcerer is over here. He's trying to like shoot it a little bit. So we're gonna run the sorcerer like off into the forest over here. And if he wants to chase it, we're gonna just hide him in trees. I think that's gonna be one of the better bets here. So yeah, I like his army though. He has a good mixture of tree men and like I think, does he have war dancers over there? Are those Azrai spears? yeah, I think they're Azrai Spears, because Shaggots are very popular in the meta, you know, and Azrai Spears are pretty good against like Chaos Knights and things like that. So we're going to kind of just posture back here and get nice and comfortable and, you know, just get ready to do our thing. One thing we're going to struggle with is Forsaken against the Tree Men is definitely not a fun matchup. So let's get these Forsaken here, start running them out here. Nice little Arrow of Kurnus there doing some pretty good harass damage, and we'll get these Forsaken running out here. Let's get these ones kind of pushing up and just getting ready to engage in the front line. So let's also get Sigvald and the Halberds over there. And it looks like, yeah, everything's going to code. We want to get our Aspiring Champions also fighting in the front line. You see our Chaos Knights are a little bit out of position, so let's run them in the forest here. And also, do we have a Piercing Bolts of Burning? So let's just keep running the Chaos Sorcerer into the forest and just protect it with the Knights. I think that's going to be a good call, because we want to make sure we have those abilities as the game progresses. All right, great. So I think everything's going to code for the most part. A little bit wild here for sure. So let's get these Forsaken, slam them into these guys, and we'll get these ones and run them into the Azrai Spears, which hopefully will open up our engagement here. So they're going to engage in the Azrai Spears, and then we're just going to pull in and like really push in aggressively on the flank. So these Chaos Knights here, let's see if we can like thread the needle there, which is very, very important in this matchup. And we do have a Flaming Sword of Ruin, so we're going to kind of drop that right here on the front line now. Once we can get there, it takes a little bit of time, but you know what, guys, it's all good in the hood. So let's get these Knights over here, and our group 2 is coming in pretty hot, so we're going to kind of run this way, see if we can do a little bit of baiting here, and a really nice Prey of Anathrama from my opponent here. But the Hounds, we do have some pretty good kind of cross movement going in. A lot of wild collapsing, to say the least, but let's get these guys here, and good. So the Flaming Sword of Ruin should be going down pretty soon. Let's go ahead and drop that in the front line. Let's get these Forsaken in here. These Chaos Knights, we don't want them on Wildwood Rangers, so let's get these Forsaken on these guys, pull these back, get this guy going here, and do we have Piercing Bolts? Let's go ahead and drop that over there. So good. Yeah, everything's going pretty well, I would say. It's a wild fight. Very, very wild fight. So we're going to pull these guys out here. Come on, run that way. And, oh, looks like there's some big flames dropping from the sky. Just wild times, guys, wild times. So Flame Sorcerer, got to use Arcane Conduit. We do have the Knights kind of getting into the back line. Definitely a lot of work. My opponent's doing a pretty good job, like, really protecting his back line, but I think we've broken through. So we're going to push in right here. These Chaos Knights, you know, definitely got the moves like Jagger, guys. So these Chaos Knights also need to, we might as well ride down those guys. I think that's going to be a good little engagement for us. So good. So we charge in here. We get right into his missile line. The Forsaken are trading, like, okay with the trees. It's not, like, a great engagement, but let's actually get these Forsaken and go after that Branch Wraith. I feel like that'll be pretty strong. So we get into the missile line, pretty hot and heavy, guys. Like that's pretty tough. Like it's going to be hard to come back from that, like a compromised back line like that. Forsaken trading very, very effectively. The Wildwood Rangers, though, are getting in here and doing some work. So hopefully these Forsaken catch these guys. Let's get Sigvald and go after his caster. Make sure to use the leadership buff. And guys, we're going to have another Flaming Sword of Ruin here in just a moment. So that's going to be really nice. And might as well ignore these Treekin. Like there's no point sitting there and fighting them now that, you know, the line is compromised. Flaming Sword of Ruin in here, going to give us some pretty good stats. And, you know, that's why I really like these Chaos Knights. They just have like better sustained combat stats. It's really, really solid. So get these guys here. Let's get these Hounds down here. His Lord sitting up in the air, but I feel like, you know, for most of his line here has been really like pushed in aggressively. So, all right, so we just got to make sure Sigvald doesn't die at this point. We do get the Branch Wraith, so that's a very, very good pick as well. And the Chaos Knights, I feel like we can like pull them back now. There's no point. Like we have Forsaken, we got Halberds in here who can usually, you know, fight off these type of troops. So great. So back line is not in the prettiest shape. Let's get these Hounds over here. Hopefully they don't rout off before they get out. And why are these Forsaken? Oh, they're chasing the Branch Wraith. So let's get them back in here. Let's path all these Chaos troops to kind of finish these guys off. Let's pull a looping around here and a loop around here. So good. All right. Awesome. Yeah, and let's see. So what does he have left? So he has his Lord up there in the air. Sigvald is getting a little bit overzealous. Let's get him in here to help out with those trees. And yeah, so we're gonna get around the back with these Chaos Knights. Sometimes that shift pathing is a little bit awkward, but regardless, it usually gets you where you need to be. So let's get these Forsaken collapsing here, and we have another Piercing Bolts of Burning. So let's actually do this. Oh, is that gonna kill some of my own guys? I feel like it is. So regardless, let's just cast it. I think you know, I think it might be okay. We'll get over here, finish off these Treekin, and we do have the Chaos Knights coming around the back, which should be kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. So continue to push in here. We do have some Hounds somewhere off in the map. Let's get them chasing down some of these archers, and yeah, we get a nice little bombardment there that crushes the last of the Wood Elf troops. And finally, he does indeed get our Chaos Sorcerer over here, so well played by my opponent. Definitely a tough time protecting that. You know, something you see a lot in the competitive game, well, any game in general, and this was certainly a great game as well. You know, very, very good player, is that the Wood Elves will bring like several groups of Hawk Riders, and then Hawk Riders are actually a pretty good answer to Chaos Knights, because like you can like rear charge them and do some good shock damage. You can pull out with the armor piercing because they do have 45 AP damage. So, all right, so what's going on over here? Got to make sure to clean up because the bounce power still isn't completely in my favor yet. So I want to make sure I'm not laxing up. Got to keep the foot on the throat, you know. So we're going to push over here, go after some of these War Dancers. Yeah, and it looks like everything is shattering at that point. So well played to my opponent. It was a super fun match. Chaos versus Wood Elves is actually one of my favorite. Like I love using just hordes of Forsaken. In Chaos Knights, you see what I'm saying? Like the Chaos Knights, you put a group of Hounds with them, and then basically like you just pretend like it's a railroad track. You have like this splitting path. So you split in two directions with each one, and it just becomes so difficult to micro when you're trying to like protect your front line and everything. It's just a nightmare for sure. So yeah, hopefully you guys like that Chaos build. This is actually the Chaos build from my Chaos guide against the Wood Elves. I think it's really good. It's quite optimal. Lore of Fire could be switched with Lore of Death, I think. That's something I'm a little bit on the fence about, but, you know, they're both pretty good at the end of the day. So, again, well played to my opponent, Pandar the Destroyer. Look forward to seeing you again on ladder, and I hope you guys enjoyed that live Battlecast. Have an excellent night, and take care.